And you are indeed live here at WTJU from the stage, and we are so fortunate because we have got Brendan Mulvihill, Angelina Carberry, and Dan Brouder together for their first concert on this tour celebrating the Martin Mulvihill collection. Before we chat with you, how about you start off with something? Welcome to WTJU. Live here at the stage at WTJU, the sounds of Brendan Mulvihill on fiddle, of course. Angelina Carberry on banjo and Dan Brouder on the accordion. And they are just starting off a tour in support of the new Martin Mulvihill collection. First of all, welcome to WTJU.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, let's talk about the reason for this tour, this collection. Perhaps, Brendan, you can tell us a little bit about your dad and... Well, you don't have to go on too long, but most people do certainly know the name Martin Mulvihill. So.
This is a compilation that he was working on for a while through his, well, how can I say it? His connection with places in Ireland, the north of Ireland, England, and that he put it together over the years. Yeah. There's a lot of music in here. I think it's 4,000 tunes, isn't it? Yeah, 4,000. It'd take you more than a night to get through it.
Yes, well, I'm holding these two books with over 2,300 traditional tunes in it, and
you need a bottle of Scotch or Irish whiskey to get.
Well, fortunately, the liquor store is right next door. So.
I mean, if you're going to study the book.
Oh no, absolutely. But there's also a wonderful essay about your dad in there as well.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Well, Brendan, for those who may not be as familiar with you, when did you first pick up the fiddle and really start to get into this music? I know you came to this country at age 11, and you were an Irish.
Well, 1966 it got going for me.
Okay.
But like hard to get going, you know. There wasn't a lot of young people around playing it, but there was it picked up, you know. There's a couple of teachers in New York. And, my father wasn't teaching then, so it was only later on he started teaching. So there's a lot of good old-fashioned musicians around, you know, that played.
Absolutely, and of course these days we have great organizations like the Blue Ridge Irish Music School that's presenting this concert this evening at Potter's Craft Cider. That show starts at 7, that have classes all year long to make sure that these traditions don't just fall by the wayside, and we're able to bring in great musicians such as yourselves to come in and put on these concerts. And I do believe that they will have copies of this collection available, and it is quite hefty. I'm glad I did my workout this morning. Otherwise, I may not have been able to lift it up. It's that extensive. It's wonderful. Well, Angelina, let's talk about you've got a little bit of a background here with Brendan. In fact, you both do, but how did you come in, you and Dan come in to start to work with Brendan on this?
Well, my first introduction to Brendan was when I was 3 years old at my home in Manchester, and Brendan was over playing, and I grew up hearing all about Brendan from my dad and my uncle Anthony and my uncle Dermot. So we met over a year ago down in West Cork. Brendan was playing at the Baltimore Fiddle Fair, so we were over the moon to see he was playing, and we've been playing since.
Yeah. And of course, you and Dan have got quite a history together performing, and Dan, you really specialize in the Limerick area, is that right?
Sorry?
The music of Limerick is really a big passion of yours.
Yeah, Limerick is it's great. It's trapped in between Kerry and Clare, and it's kind of got its own style down there, too.
Well, I want to talk to you about what a Limerick accordion sound is versus other parts, but before we get into that, maybe we can get you three to play something else for us.
Okay. We're going to play a few tunes, a few reels, I suppose.
Yeah, which ones?
Empty creels and...
Oh, yeah. Didn't we just do those? No.
Oh, before you start, did I hear a tune you wrote for your uncle in that first set?
No.
No, okay. I was thinking my ears were.
I think that's one he used to scratch at.
Ah, okay.
They were the Rose in the Heather, Mick Mulvihill.
Yeah, Rose in the Heather.
And Tripping Up the Stairs.
Okay.
And we're going to play.
Yeah, he's in there. He's his middle tune.
All right.
These tunes, Brendan composed them, and except the last one, Sailor on the Rock. So we're going to give them a go.
Okay.
Live here at the stage, Brendan Mulvihill, fiddle, Angelina Carberry on the banjo, and Dan Brouder on the accordion, and they are out touring right now. This is their first night of this tour behind the brand new Martin Mulvihill collection, which they're going to have at all the concerts, including this evening at Potter's Craft Cider. That show starts at 7. Head over to brimstunes.org to find out more about that. And I suspect they might even have some merch besides the books with them, some CDs of theirs as well. Well, Dan, I talked about the West Limerick sound, and what distinguishes West Limerick accordion from other accordion from around Ireland?
I suppose they play a lot more polkas in the accordions down there than they would in the rest of the country, you know. I learned from flute players and fiddle players, and I like to have an equal sound, and and more accordion players are kind of over the other instruments, but I just like them equal, you know.
All right. So someone like Mick McCauley, what style is he doing on the accordion?
Mick McCauley he's a great accordion player from Kilkenny, and he's just a great player as well. And
All right, yeah.
It's not much different. But
Okay, yeah,
except
I'm
he
always
doesn't
just
play
curious because folks always, you know, they talk about, you know, certainly in this country, you can, with old time music or mountain music, as they say, you can sometimes tell where a performer's from based on their style, and so
Yeah, it's like an accent, you know.
yeah.
It's like an accent. Every county in Ireland's got a different accent, and that rubs off in the music as well.
And Angelina, how did you settle on the banjo as your instrument of choice?
Yeah, my dad and my granddad played the banjo. My father taught me. I started on the whistle, and then I took off.
I've
banjo
heard
then.
most musicians on that side of the pond do start with the whistle to make sure that they're serious enough about playing.
Yes.
Now, I bet you the rest of your family doesn't play with a clear head on their banjo.
No.
Tell us
my
about
dad,
that banjo.
Actually, my dad, Peter, had this made for me.
Ah,
So he designed it, and he put the clear head on it, yeah.
well, for those who aren't watching this on our live video stream, one way to see it for yourself, besides just hear it, is to head over to Potter's Craft Cider this evening at 7. I think doors open at 6, so you can get a good seat. I've been to the outdoor concerts there. They're a real treat, a wonderful opportunity to hear. I think it's going to be an outside concert, so you'll be able to really enjoy the sounds of nature with this great trio. And Brendan, let's talk about that fiddle of yours. When did you pick that one up?
A cousin of mine gave me this fiddle, and he didn't tell me how much he wanted for it, but he hasn't come back looking for money, so
Okay.
I'm charmed to have it now, so it's staying in my hands.
Now, you know, on this side of the pond, when you have a banjo player in, you usually ask how many banjos they have. I don't know what it's like on the other side. Dare I ask, do you have more than a few banjos, Angelina?
I do. I have a few, yeah. There's a great instrument maker called Dave Boyle who passed away a couple of years ago, and he made great banjos. He was from Kerry originally, but he was based in Leixlip, Kildare. So I have a couple of him.
But I know with the other two instruments, usually they don't have two. How many accordions do you have at home
Don't ask.
or on this tour, Dan?
I have about 9 of them, I tell you.
Oh, well, okay then.
I need more
I stand
banjos.
corrected. And Brendan, I know most fiddlers, once they find 1 or 2 fiddles, they usually stop.
I have too many.
Ah.
I'm going to have a Viking fire in my backyard.
Oh, no. I'll be there to stop the fire.
You started off with the accordion.
That's what Alan Jabor from the Smithsonian used to say. So I'll be there to put the fire out.
Yeah.
Don't you do that, you know. Yeah.
I'm reminded of that great Alan Jabor. He was here in town once at the Prism Coffee House, and he did all of his studies down around North Carolina in the different hills and hollers, and he transcribed all these old-time tunes. Then he went out to do his PhD in California, and the highfalutin, the classical violinist invited him in to judge a fiddle competition. And every single student that got up to perform said, as transcribed by Alan Jabor. And finally the faculty said, "Who are you?" So
Oh, he
Alan
was a great
DeVore.
man, wasn't he?
Yes, indeed. So fortunate to have him, as we are you. And rather than me ask any more questions, how about we take a little break and have you play some more for us?
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks very much. Yeah, these are.
Yeah.
A couple of hornpipes.
A couple of hornpipes from the pen of Frank McCallum.
Ah, I've heard that your father and he had a nice conversation going on, so
Yeah.
perhaps we can talk about that when you come back.
McCallum was very prolific writer, and he wrote a lot of tunes. And it's funny, he wrote a lot of tunes, and he ended up in the North African desert fighting Rommel. And after that, he immigrated to Canada, but something happened, and he came back to the north of Ireland. And that's when I met him, was around 1970.
Gosh.
Yeah, he was a great friends with another fiddle player by the name of Sean Ryan. I met him in Ryan's house. He played a lot of nice music. We played those, huh?
Yeah.
All right.
Home ruler.
Home rule first. Yeah.
No, it's the Hangman's Rope Brigade, and then Hangman's Rope Brigade,
Yeah.
and then the Home Ruler.
Yeah.
live here at the stage of WTJU. Brendan Mulvihill, Angelina Carberry, and Dan Brouder doing a Frank McCollum tune. And as I said earlier, before they started, your father, Martin Mulvihill, and Frank had quite a ongoing relationship in terms of writing back and forth, didn't they?
Yeah. Oh yeah. When there was no internet when they were when they were doing, there was aerogram letters. Do you remember those?
I do well.
They were 11 cents a piece or something. Maybe
Yeah.
not that much. Maybe 3 cents a piece. And sometimes you'd open it up and you'd have like 4 or 5 tunes in there that Frank scribbled out. Very beautiful scribbling.
Yeah.
You know, almost like a Bach manuscript, you know?
Gosh.
You know, like it just was all there. All there.
Well, I'm reminded of that movie about Mozart with Salieri, and he couldn't believe that Mozart's pieces didn't have any scratching out. He just wrote them once and they were done.
Yeah, there are
Upset.
people like that.
Yes, there are. Well, let's talk about what got your father started down this road of collecting all these wonderful pieces.
Well, I don't know. He just, I don't think he was much of a writer at times, you know. I mean, he got the notes down sometimes, and other times he didn't. But everyone makes mistakes, so, and it got done because he had great people he knew, so that's the whole thing. And he wrote a lot of it himself too, but there was a lot of things that were given to him.
And this is not common, you know. For most of us, we think of the tunes being passed on by ear, you know, sitting around and playing together. So to have a collection like this is really unheard of.
Yeah.
And it's certainly Angelina and Dan, have you run into a lot of sheet music over the years as you were coming up through playing this music?
Loads of it. Loads of it.
Yeah, mainly learned by ear, but what I love about the collection is the lovely settings of the tunes.
Yeah.
There's some really, really nice settings of well-known tunes, and they're different and just lovely.
Oftentimes, you know, you also, what I love about this collection is that you do have the essay on your father as well, and so you get a little background as to the person who was writing and collecting these tunes. And if folks want to find this collection, if they're not lucky enough to be part of where this trio will be touring, you can go to irishscroll.com and find out more about the collection as well as where they're going to be touring, because you're going to be all over Virginia and Maryland and New York through July 1st. And as I said, this very night on this 14th day of June, Flag Day, you can catch them here in Charlottesville at Potter's Craft Cider starting at 7 o'clock. And the doors open, I think, right around 6 o'clock. And they're going to be heading down shortly. In fact, maybe I should ask you for one more set before I let you get out the door.
Oh, what do we do?
The 2 crownies.
Huh?
The 2 crownies.
Crowleys.
Oh, yeah.
Just the 2.
Yeah, okay. We'll do those. Within a mile of Dublin first, right? Okay.
Brendan Mulvihill, fiddle, Angelina Carberry on the banjo, and Dan Brouder on the accordion. Do catch them this evening here in Charlottesville over at Potter's Craft Cider. That show starts at 7. And they've got a full tour going on through July 1st. You can find that tour schedule at irishscroll.com, where you can also find out about the full collection, the Martin Mulvihill collection of traditional Irish music, the 1986 original, complete, unedited 4 volumes, and it includes an essay about Martin as well, Brendan's father. Before I do let you actually get out the door, I keep holding you here. I have a few more questions for you. Brendan, I'm curious. I'm always, when folks go out on tour, do you just bring the one fiddle with you, or do you have a backup?
Well, I
with
have
you?
2.
Two, okay.
The other one, if I get frustrated, I'll burn it.
Okay. Again, I'll be covering. I've got my fire extinguisher with me at all times.
No,
And
I'm
how
kidding,
about you?
I'm kidding you. I have 2 fiddles,
Okay.
just in case something goes wrong.
And Angelina, do you normally tour with more than one, or?
No, just the one, and my tenor guitar.
And how about you with the accordion?
I just bring the one. Yeah. Hadn't room. Well, sometimes I bring 2, but I brought one over to America.
Now, have you gotten pretty proficient at repairing the accordion yourself, or do you always keep someone on speed dial?
Well, it depends the way you play it. If you play it hard, you're going to blow the reeds, and if you don't, you won't.
So you know how to play it, so no worries about blowing those reeds.
So there's plenty of players around here to help me out if anything happened. That's all.
Indeed. Well, thank you for stopping by WTJU in support of this wonderful collection, and of course to perform for us as well.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
And we're going to send things back up to the air studio.